The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on Tom's Radio Toronto are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of Tom's Radio Toronto or its staff. These broadcasts are presented and made public as entertainment and general information only, in the hope that they will be entertaining and informative to listeners. They are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or mitigate in any way any disease or condition or to promote any specific lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice, nor is the information presented necessarily accurate or verifiable.
Hello, welcome everybody again. Welcome to Africa Talks. Our sister Josephine is not here again today. She's still dealing with some personal issues that is important for her. We forgive her. She'll come and join us soon, perhaps next week. Today, I'm asking this question: do we really want globalization in Africa? I saw a documentary a few days ago. It was not related to globalization, but it had me thinking about these globalization issues that we are dealing with right now in our world. The documentary was a bizarre food in South Asia. Different type of bizarre street foods in South Asia. And during this documentary, it showed different areas in Vietnam, in Sri Lanka, I think, in India, South India a little bit, and how the vendors are selling different foods on the street, but however, there was some processes and things like fish farms in Vietnam. We saw what we saw in these, what I saw in this documentary. It was very interesting. I was trying to relate this with this globalization thing. You see a fella that they have these fish farms. Each one have a little bit individual fish and selling a lot of fish, but you can their life is still very, very primitive. Their life is not improved. The health and sanitary environment that they live or they work is not up to standard, and so forth. Obviously, I try to relate this with the issues of sweatshops in China, with Nike, and in India, the issue of child labors that is happening around the world, in Malaysia, in all these different countries that are somewhat in the forefront of this globalization. They were in the forefront of globalization in South America, on the forefront of this globalization. And what I noticed is that the standard of life of people who are participating in this globalization did not improve. Practically, what they did is to create another form of slavery, where people work very hard to produce all these different products for Western world, but at the same time, they're getting this product for a very cheap price and not good benefit for the people who are living in that part of the world while participating in this globalization issue. So the question I'm asking my Africans, fellow Africans, is: do we really want this globalization in Africa, or the way it is, at least right now? We saw what globalization does. I think on the previous talks back in the days when we started this show, I gave example of the Africans that are leaving, going to Italy to work as in the farms, being treated very badly, practically almost like slaves. Well, we discussed about some of the African people who are getting killed, practically getting killed, work there as farmers, as immigrant, undocumented workers, so they call, and some of them even getting killed. We saw that what they're doing in Cameroon, where they are growing bananas and spraying pesticides to the point that that pesticides affects people to develop breathing respiratory diseases. Some people go blind. All that so the banana can reach to friends with this friends company. I discussed about the fishing in Guinea, where they take people to go do fishing. They come with a big fish, a ship from Korea or something like that. They come and fish there, take fishermen from there, walked, and some of them even getting killed and tossed in the sea with these big fish processing ships. And they take ship to friends, saying that the ship is coming from they're coming from South Korea or North Korea or South Korea or something like that. Meanwhile, the fish, they're saying that the water in Guinea, because they did not follow some form of environmental standards, that the water is polluted or what so forth, that Guinea government cannot sell that fish from Guinea. So people come and fish in Guinea and pass it with a stamp as if they're in the fish is coming from South Korea. We know back home people were given trees to plant avocados, and this is farms of avocados, and they are buying obviously avocados for very cheap price. I'll share with you where we live here in Toronto. One avocado is $1 or $1.50. So can you imagine how much they're picking up from you in a tree? How much you're selling the avocado? Obviously, the price that they pay cannot help an individual who's actually doing the farming. So my question is, do we really want globalization in Africa? How does globalization will help us, and Africans who live in Africa as an individual African? Because it's clearly that the examples that we're seeing from our fellow human from different countries like China, like Sri Lanka, like Vietnam, like Malaysia, like Bangladesh, like in all other places of the world, we can see very clearly the conditions that people are living, the life standard of the people who has been participating in Latin America as well, has been participating in this globalization, in selling the products that supposedly is in demand in this Western world. They do not change the status of their life. It does not change the healthcare system for them. It does not change their education system. It does not change their life standard. It does not change the healthcare. It changes absolutely nothing. More likely, they work for, they get to work as a cheap labor. right? So Africans, we have been abused and for many years. We've been slaves for many years. We've been all of that for many years. Our continent have been practically raped for many years. The question I'm asking, why do we continue to fall for this type of nonsense? Because it's an absolutely nonsense. We Africans need to completely rethink and shape our future based on what we Africans need. We Africans need to improve our infrastructures to be able to use our population of 1.4 billion people to uplift our status of life. We need to figure out the way to increase the value of our money, however way we can, so we no longer work with the budget of the cities to run the countries. Instead, we need to start working with a budget that actually is significant for the country. I have no idea, I'm not an economist, but until now, it's kind of puzzling for me that the city of New York, that is got about 4 or 5 million people, I think, or 7 million people, whatever the million people that they have, or California, they will operate with a budget on one day budget become equivalent to the budget of the GDP of one day become equivalent to GDP of the country of 62 million people like Tanzania. I do not understand why we are stuck to that, and there's which way we can raise these factors. What they say, if we print more money, you lose the value of money. Okay, that's fine. Why don't we reserve more gold so we can raise up the value of our money? But we choose to have a foreign funds reserves instead of gold reserves in our countries, which is another odd discussion. I keep saying I really hope that Africa empower African Union, and the leaders of African Union need to focus on the things that are actually important for Africa. My proposal, I'm going to give a proposal after this break. Let's take a break, about 2 minutes break, and then we'll come back to give you my proposal, what I think African Union should do.
nasa bahay ka lang gamit ang iyong Show My King online franchise business. Step 1, you post. Step 2, we deliver. Step 3, you earn. Tandaan, sa Show My King lang yan.
Yeah, welcome back to African Talks. As I was speaking before, I said that I have some ideas of things that are of concern with me regarding Africa, and I am going to start with the issue of education. We Africans who went to school in Africa, including you African leaders, I can challenge you. Can you, if none of you ever say that they did not draw the legs of grasshoppers at school, right? The legs of a grasshopper in school. Now you tell me how is relevant the legs of grasshopper to the life of an African. Why we don't teach each other how to do mining at school. What is the problem of us learning how to mine where we have a lot of natural resources? We have a lot of mines that we can mine. What is the picture of a grasshopper legs going to do to me really in life? How does that improve the life of an African in Africa? How can he use that knowledge to uplift himself? How can he use that knowledge to have any understanding of what life is, knowing really who was the first white person to arrive in Mount Kilimanjaro and become, that is the first person to arrive at Kilimanjaro. How does that impact someone's life who lives around Mount Kilimanjaro right now, instead of teaching them what to look for in a ground or in a sand to find out this ground may possess some mining or not? I think what I'm proposing to African Union is to think about the syllabus, the education, and what is important to teach our kids in school, that with the knowledge that will help to promote the livelihood and uplift the livelihood of Africans in Africa. For example, some of the knowledge that we need to focus significantly could be something like minings. The way we can do the mining from digging to the processing of different type of stones, like tanzanite, how you process it, cutting them, how do we dig, how do we find the mines, the process of finding the mines, the machines to operate the mines, and so forth. The things that we need to learn in Africa, because it's the problem until now, is how to construct our own infrastructure, our own roads. These are the topics, these are the things that we need to learn in Africa, not to draw a grasshopper or a legs, or to draw amoeba, or to, those, what we went through, right? You know what we've learned in school. And I'm saying this as a witness because I went to school from both. I went to school in Africa and I went to school up here, high school. Range. I went to high school in Africa and I went to high school here, and I can tell you what we learn is very, very different. What we learn is what is emphasized in the teachings is also very, very different. Even the process of learning is very, very different. And it's very frustrating knowing that a lot of us are being misled in learning and taking the courses that is absolutely have absolutely no value or use for our life in Africa. And all of these are enforced to learn. So I am begging or asking African Union to consider in interfering with the education system in Africa and look at this syllabus of what we learn in Africa and make a foundation of what education system should be like. I understand right now, if you are colonized by British, you follow British system. If you are colonized by French, you follow French system. And we know that the teachings that we get from these colonies are not much with the systems that we have here. I remember a leader that a lot of people tainted him. I have high respect for him. I have my reasons for why I have so much respect for him, Mr. Muammar Gaddafi. His students, when finished high school in Libya, all of them were going to university in Italy, and apparently Italian government wanted to build universities in Libya to teach Libya, and Gaddafi insisted that he wanted all the students from his country go to university there and learn there with the university students in Italy. And not just that, he also said that he also imposed a condition that the Libyan students cannot be more than 10% of the population of the student in that university, and he was paying for them, right? This it was necessary and it was needed because he knew and he recognized from get-go that if the universities were built in Libya and they make syllabus in Libya, then the education that the students will get will not be similar, exactly the same as they get in Italy. Our friends, I'm not sure exactly, I think in Italy, that's the strike, that's the deal that is strike. So what I'm saying is African leaders, African Union need to look at the education system in Africa and figure out the way or implement a syllabus for students that actually are going to be useful for Africans people. Yes, obviously there's science that we need to learn for medicine and engineering and all that and all of that. However, we need to focus too on how to develop our natural resources. For example, Tanzania, we have a lot of mining, so we can focus some significant education on the mining. We know all of Africa, there's very, very small portions on Africa that you can say the land is not fertile. So we can focus significantly on farming education. We can focus significantly on animal farming education, right? Because we are blessed with those things. We are blessed with wines. We need to have this thing changed. Second, that I am proposing to change. I think our constitutions from different countries, we have a copy. We have copied the system of constitution from Western world. Perhaps at that time we were not as civilized or developed, so they say. So we needed that help because they colonized us and they made us follow this system. But I think now is about time for African Union to look at these constitutions that we have and make one universal African constitution SOP, let's say, or standard operating procedure, or something like that, that we African countries individually can adapt and change and switch how it fits in our own country. But I don't think we should no longer follow these constitutions the way we have right now. It is sickening and embarrassing until now to me. I don't know how you guys see it, but to me it is embarrassing to see a lawyer wearing that gown and putting that white blonde hair what do you call wig, right? To show that is a judge to look like white, right? It's sickening and it's embarrassing, right? But we still do. These are the type of things that absolutely make no sense. We need to wear migolole instead, right? In our courts, right? We need to have laws that actually benefit us and agreed with us. We need to have a new constitution that it was made by Africans, African Union, that African countries can adapt and formulate a different type of constitutions that fit our countries, fit our system. This is another proposal of mine. The third thing that I'm asking, I think we need to, African unions need to have a plan or a way to improve the infrastructures of our country for the intention of linking Africa, not uniting Africa. I know that is a difficult, most for the impossible task, but linking Africa in form of transportation. So all of us, things can reach to us. We need to have electricity across Africa. We need to have water across Africa for every single citizen that lives in Africa, because it's possible. They have it here where we live. They have it here in a conditions that is even impossible to work. These people can do this work. Most of them can actually perform this type of infrastructure job 8 months of a year at a time, right? Because in winter time it's impossible to construct things, to building pipe under the undergrounds and all the things. So everybody works from April, right? Let's say March to end of October or maybe November, and it stop, right? December, January, February, that month, those 3 months are practically off, and I will say a significant part of March, right, and significant part of November, right? So about 8 months in a year that these countries here are able to perform those type of infrastructure. So it's possible, and you'll find electricity have reached everywhere. You'll find the water have reached everywhere. Those necessary things for human have gone. They've reached to everybody. So African Union need to make a plan. Need to take actions and somehow influence these African countries, however way they can influence, if it's the donation or each country donate a period, or each country do their own things. They need to enforce, to figure out the way how we can link our countries regarding infrastructures. And I'm not talking about infrastructures only roads. I'm talking about infrastructures regarding electricity, regarding water, regarding how we can transport food across Africa. We, as I said, have 1.4 billion people population, and yes, they say majority of them are poor, but that can be changed, and that can only be changed simply by improving the value of our money. If we improve the value of our money, then that 10,000 shillings that an individual is holding is worth much more than what is worth today, and so is the status of living for that person, and that can be done as simply as, in a country like Tanzania, as simply as accumulating enough gold in our national reserve. If you accumulate enough gold in your national reserve, then the value of your money is high. When the value of your money is high, so is inflation become low. When inflation become low, so is the standard of life for everybody. These things is like almost like a chain reaction that happen, that we have to think and do it. I think African leaders from African Union, I say this is one of the things that is extremely important to do. Fourth, I really believe Africa, we need to have a universal language that everybody can understand each other. Let it be English if that is necessary. Let it be French if that is necessary. My proposal is Swahili. We do need to have a language that at least the people who do not have good intention with us, they have to work hard to translate on what we are saying. So I heard this guy in South Africa, I think in Malema, he's been talking to a lot about trying to make Swahili as a spoken language in Africa. I'm not sure if that is going to fly as much, but we need to have a universal language that we can communicate as Africans. It is extremely important, so we don't have this isolation as much. And it takes time, right? But it's durable, because if you want to go back, right, back in the days before this colonization came, before they remove our languages and we start speaking French or English as our colonies were what they did, right? There were these languages that people were speaking. For example, we understand that Swahili was speaking in the coast of all the way to Yemen. Right, it was one language that everybody speaking in the coast. It was a coast language to all the way to Middle East. Right, everybody in the coast, they were speaking Swahili. We also know that Swahili is a combination of the Bantu language. That means there was a significant good communication between majority of African tribes, and they did not have any problem with communicating themselves until right now. I don't believe that Cameroon, right, and Nigerians or Ghanaians, right, those tribes had different language. Their language was so different to the point that they don't understand each other like the way it is today, where Nigeria or Ghana, they speak in English, and Cameroon and Senegal, they speak French. I really believe that the natural language that they have is somewhat more similar to each other than these two, French and English. So we know we've been divided with the language. So I think African Union need to take a step and think over through this and figure out a way that Africans can have one universal language to communicate. Not unite. I'm not talking about uniting Africa. That is perhaps closer to the end of the world. It may happen. I don't think it's going to happen now. But we can have universal language, can't we? Right? It's not that difficult. All we need to do is to start teaching that in grade 1, right? When the students come in the classes from grade 1, they start learning that language. If that's Swahili, it becomes Swahili. It becomes as a lesson, as a class, and eventually it becomes a spoken language. All we have to do is speak one language in Africa that we think we all can communicate properly, and we use to teach that language from grade 1, and we use that language as a spoken language in schools. And when that happens, everything changes. Just like the way they made English as spoken languages in school and became later on as official languages for our country, we can do Swahili as a spoken language in school and become official languages of our country. It's going to take some time to get there. Yes, it's going to take a generation. Someone start grade 1 until they finish university. We are talking about let's say Tanzanian education system 1 to 7 years, and then from 4, that's another 4 years, that's 11. From 5 and from 6, that another 13 years, and university, let's say, is another 4 years or 5 years. So we're talking about 20 years is enough, right, to actually completely change the African continent to have one universal language. All we have to do is just try to introduce that in grade 1 today. If we introduce grade 1, let's say 2022, in 20 years, the entire African continent will be speaking one universal language. It's as simple as that. It's a process that will take a longer time, but it's possible. It is durable, right? So I really try to recommend African Union to figure out and try to get this, because once we can speak one common language, we will be able to understand each other very, very well, very, very easily, and do businesses properly, right? This is another proposal of mine to African Union leaders. This is something that I think they need to do. Fifth, I think we need African Union need to influence African continent to start doing these contracts and infrastructures among ourselves, more than relying on outside influence like China or US or Turkey or whatever these countries that come to build our roads and our railway. I think I am sure there are many qualified Ghanaians or Nigerians or Libyans or Tunisians or Egyptians that can build our railways, right, properly, that can build our roads properly. Why do we have to always constantly giving these Chinese people to come and build the roads in our countries? It makes up. So I think African Union need to work on that situation, to be able to actually help African continent's economy instead of taking these type of loans. I think African Union need to have a stronger bank, let's say African bank. We need to have I'm not sure what will happen if someone try to introduce African currency. I know that perhaps that would kill Gaddafi because he was looking for that. But let's say not a currency, but we need to pick a currency that we can use in Africa and say this is a universal currency for Africa, so we can have business properly. Let it be US dollars if that's necessary, right? But we really need to have ability for us Tanzanians to go to Kenya with the money that we have to go and do transaction in Kenya. Europeans did it. We know that you go to England, you can use euro, you can use pound, right? If you go to France, you can use euro, you can use francs, right? If you go to Switzerland, you can use euro, you can use wherever that the thing is. So we need to have that. A currency, some form of currency that we Africans can use across Africa to trade with each other instead of trying to find exchange rate. If I'm leaving Tanzania, I gotta go exchange my money to Kenya money, and then I leave Kenya, I gotta go exchange my money to Uganda money, right? And I gotta go, and people lose money that way, and it makes absolutely no sense or something like that. But if we do have a universal currency for Africans, this will help significantly in promoting economy, promoting trading, and promoting Africans to Africans businesses for the scenario of this. So this is another thing that I'm proposing for African Union to look at. Another number 6 or 7th or whatever that it is, I am proposing to have more of lenient on movement of people in Africa. I don't think it's possible to have an African passport, but I think what happened to things like what that we have in East Africa, East African Union, where you have a Tanzanian passport, you really don't need a visa to go to Kenya, or Kenyan need a visa to come to Tanzania, and so forth. I think we need to remove these restrictions for Africans to move across each other. If we remove these conditions of Africans to move across each other, to think, well, let's don't say that, okay, you can buy lands, you can buy this, you can buy this. That's become might be too far. But at least being able to move goods and things and change and make it tax friendly for Africans to do business in Africa. And just like the way they make it difficult for us here, we can make it not tax friendly to come do businesses in Africa the way they've been doing right now. And this is done with the thing. You can see, you saw when Trump came to presidency, he put all these tariffs and taxes to the companies that were foreign countries. They are doing production in foreign countries, and force these American companies to come and do the production in US, because it's more costly to do production in US. But somehow he was able to manage to bring back some of those manufacturers in US. So it's the same thing. We need to figure out the way how we can make business friendly for Africans to Africans trading, right? When we have removing these type of things, then we will not have the issue of xenophobic like that we have in South Africa, right? These type of things, right, will not exist, because we will be speaking the same language, we will have the same currency, we will have trading each other, business partners with each other. The movement of people will not be the hidden and having these people that say, oh, this is an undocumented and this is documented, and that type of scenario. All of that within Africa will be removed, right? And that will uplift the African economy, and that will help Africa to become rich, perhaps, right? And another thing that I'm proposing, at least for now, because we're still using foreign countries like China, UK, States, to come and do these projects of infrastructures and whatever they come and do. We need to impose a condition in all these technology when they come and do the work, to impose a technology transfer. If you get a contract to come and work in Tanzania to build the road, one of the conditions that you have is technology transfer. So next time we don't have to use you anymore. Right. This is only way we can get. I don't know how African Union can do that, but that probably could be one of the part of the with the Constitution. I'm not sure. I'm just proposing, but we Africans definitely need to do something to change the scenario. Globalization, the way it looks to me, and you can satisfy yourself. Go try to look how the way globalization works in China. Look at the way globalization works in India. Look at the way globalization works in Vietnam. And don't look at the numbers that they give you, the economist number they give you. No, go look at the life of these people that participating in globalization, and I dare you to see any different from what I'm seeing. I think we need to go to a break for another few minutes.
Simple lang kumita kahit nasa bahay ka lang. Gamit ang iyong Show My King online franchise business. Step 1, you post. Step 2, we deliver. Step 3, you earn. Tandaan, sa Show My King lang yan.
Yeah, welcome back. I'm continuing with my proposal of what I think African Union should do to get away from this the nightmare that we are in. Another thing that I think African country needs to do, African countries need to empower African Union and an African Union to be a point of contact for United Nations and IMF to whether the issue of loans or the issue of negotiating or the issue of all of that. I think we really need to do that because the way that they are doing to us right now, they are significantly bullying us. They come Tanzania, they put some conditions, restrictions, and we just take whatever that we have to take because we don't have the voice. But if African Union become a member of United Nations and not a country like Kenya or Tanzania or Uganda, right? Then what will happen? We'll have 54 countries' voices in that Africa, in that United Nations. We have 54 countries, 1.4 billion people as a voice, as a one voice in negotiating with IMF and in negotiating with United Nations on weather conditioning, whatever the things that is required. And it's simple as just one step towards. I'm not saying that Africans to become African Union as one country, no. But let's say Tanzania have a project that they want to do that require to borrow funds from IMF, right? All required to do is ask African Union, right, to ask for that funds for that specific project that require to be done in Tanzania. And because African Union is going to be representing 54 different countries, the number of people, the number of population, and the number of potential on us, that loan will have significant low interest compared to what we have now. And African Union can impose those conditions that is maybe required by IMF. And say, okay, this and this and this are the conditions that we imposed, and African country like Tanzania or Kenya will be dealing with an African Union and not United Nations or IMF to do the sanction. I really do think African countries need to empower African Union to help on that type of scenario. Also, I think we need to strengthen. We need to have a central bank and from African Union or African Bank as our central bank, and we African countries can borrow money from there. Or that, on the other hand, maybe African Union Bank borrow money from IMF. And we African countries borrow money from that African Union Bank, right? This is the way I think it's the only way I think we'll be able to come out with this trap that we are facing right now, individually as a small country with the GDP equal to the one day GDP in a city like New York City. All right, this is I think is the only way to get done. So I'm going to try to put a summary of what I'm trying to say. I'm saying Africa. We need to empower African Union to do the following. One is extremely important. I think African Union need to look at the education system that we have in Africa and use that education wherever that we know and make a syllabus on education that students should learn that actually beneficial for our countries. Right. For example, Tanzania, we can focus in mining, and Guinea can do in fishing because they're blessed with fish. And some areas where there's farming can deal with the farming, but that should be one of the primary focus on whatever the education on that particular region. Yes, we need doctors, we need engineers, we need nurses, we need all of that. Yes, I understand that, but really, I still don't understand, and this is one of the things I think I have a very good memory, but there's certain things that I learned in school that I absolutely refuse to remember. For example, I'll never be able to remember the first person to reach Mount Kilimanjaro. Right, I forgot that name long time ago. Right, I will never be able to remember the first person who discovered Olduvai Gorge. Right, the person who discovered Olduvai Gorge, right? I will never be able to go to remember that, and intentionally I forgot it. And somebody tell me, I usually don't even listen. We need education that actually promoting the development of Africa. No longer have this the education of drawing a grasshopper foot. Like most of people here where we live in now, they've never seen a grasshopper. So I don't understand why I needed to learn how to draw a foot of a grasshopper at school. And I'm a scientist right now, right? And I have not seen anywhere that I can use that information. So this is one of those things that I think is extremely important for Africans to do, empower African Union to change our education system. Second, I think is extremely important. I'm not sure. I'm not going to go this in order because I never write things down. I usually talk whatever that I have in my head. So I'm going to repeat the things that I said, but probably not exactly the way I said it before. Second thing, I think we need to have universal language in Africa, and it's not difficult to have universal language. I just gave a proposal. For example, if we choose a Swahili to be universal language, is as simple as starting teaching grade 1 students today who are coming in class, teaching them how to speak and read Swahili, right? And if you teach them from grade 1 to the time they reach university. We are talking about 20 years. In 20 years, the entire African continent will be speaking Swahili. It's as simple as that, right? So this is one. This is another thing that I think we need to do. Third, I really think African countries need to empower African Union to develop a constitution that fits for Africans, and one African universal African constitution, or SOP, standard operating procedure, or the standard that we need to follow as African countries, on constitutions, on our laws, on our cultures, on our beliefs, on our teachings that fits an African. Things like we are being forced to do today, accepting some of things don't agree with our cultures, should be not be the case. Yeah, I understand that humans should live however they wish, and they should choose, and freedom of right and freedom of speech and freedom of the things we have raised. But go and try to force the country and put sanction on the country because they don't recognize same-sex marriage is bluntly disrespectful, right? You cannot force people to accept what you accept, right? Everybody have right to accept what they should accept, and they call this democracy is just mind numbing, right? So I think African countries need to empower African Union to develop a constitution for Africa, and each African country can adapt to that constitution, change however they see fits that will fit their individual countries, but the forms or the direction of that constitution should match, right? Another things that I try to propose, I'm saying that African Union need to focus in developing the infrastructures of our continent to link people, the roads, the hospital, the electricity, the water, all these necessary needs become the right that Africans need to have. Perhaps that is a part that should be in the constitution. I don't know how it's going to be done, but we should promote the linking of that. Fourth, I mentioned that I think we need to promote trading for Africans to Africans, and it's not fair. However, I think it's necessary. We should prefer to do these contracts and these constructions for the roads or railways or on things to be done with African companies before. I think we can do as simple as putting the bid right in Africa for let's say a month, if it's something for a project, and if we cannot find a company in Africa that can do whatever that we need to do in Africa, then it can go outside, and whichever country that does need to impose the condition that if there's a foreign country that coming and do some infrastructure project in your country, to impose to do the technology transfer on those things, so we can no longer rely from outside people to come and help us build our roads or build our airports and build our ships, those type of things. I think I also mentioned that we need to have some form of African universal currency. The African universal currency will help significantly in Africa in promoting trading in Africa. We're no longer going to have a problem to travel to Nigeria or Ghana or Kenya or Uganda as you're coming from Tanzania and try to look the funds and money for it, because that funds that we're using, all of us are using. We saw that, example, Europe do it in all these countries. They have their money, currency, and they have their euro. You can use euro in England, and you can also use pound in England. You can use euro in France, and you can also use franc, whatever is in France, right? So Africans need to empower African Union to do that. Another thing that I said, I don't know the possibility and how this will work, but I do really think African Union should be a point of contact when it comes to negotiating or talking to United Nations or IMF. And all African countries can be under that umbrella in dealing on outside of Africa a scenario where that we're going to have a better interest rate on the loans that we're getting from IMF, and at the same time even the conditions that we're getting from United Nations, or the influence we're getting from the United Nations influence on the negative part will be a little bit less, and probably will have a little bit more influence United Nations as 54 countries as one member of United Nations. We saw that Europe do that in Eurozone with IMF. They have different zones, and they borrow money from the different Eurozones at the 20 different countries. And I know that some country of those European countries, like France, went and in Latin America and take some country from Latin America to join in their part of the Eurozone, so they can just have more numbers, right? They say strength in numbers, right? So the things like that, we know that is necessary and is needed for Africa if we are to do anything that is going to help us improve. So today I'm going to end here, right? I will see you guys next week. Thank you very much.